Hi folks, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my 1 year review of the Sony a7R4. This is going to be a fairly quick review because I have sold this camera. It's on its way to a new user tomorrow. All the packaging is on the table just over there. As soon as I finish this video, it's in the box and it's getting boxed up. Obviously this review is from my own personal use. I've shot weddings and commercial work, both photo and video, with this camera, as well as my own little days out in the hills, that sort of thing. So yeah, for you, mileage may vary, but for me, these are my key points. First off, the pros. I switched out one of my Sony a7Rivs for this camera, so the immediate pros: as soon as you grab hold of this camera, it feels a world better. Ergonomics of this camera, they really nailed it. No matter what lens I have on the front of this, it is a very comfortable grip. I have no worries at all that it's going to just slip and fall out of my hand. As well as physical ergonomics, the actual button layout I think is much better. The nubbly joystick on the back is a vast improvement on the a7 III and other cameras. The locking exposure compensation dial I'm a big fan of. I shoot primarily in aperture priority because cameras these days, they know what they're doing. I can trust it to nail the shot, but especially for backlit shots I will be using that compensation dial. Ease of use, a big reason for me to upgrade to this camera was the red focus dot. I tell you, I would have swapped out the camera just for that. It's very clear what you're focusing on, and yeah, compared to the little grey thing we used to have in the a7 III, much better. Dual UHS 2 SD card slots. Especially when you're working with the massive files on this camera, UHS 2 is a must-have, absolute must-have. It was nice to have it in the a7 III, but it was just in one of the two card slots, which meant if you were shooting simultaneously, the write speed was dependent on the slower card slot, so you weren't even seeing the benefit. The white balance picker. If you're using the a7 III, you can customise your white balance to pick a spot from your scene, but it would only give you the very centre spot to choose from. With the a7R4 and I think all the cameras after this, you can move that spot around the scene to pick out your white balance. And in terms of video, you get a very highly detailed 4K image from this, especially in Super 35 mode. This has actually been my main video camera for most of the last year, as well as photos. In darker situations like weddings and stuff like that, I would still go back to the a7 III, just because it's that bit better in low light. So there's a few pros, now a few cons, and there's only really two that I can think of. The main one being, for me, it is far too many megapixels. For the kind of work that I do, such as weddings, I might be coming home from a wedding with 2,000 to 3,000 images. 61 megapixel images, giving you a roughly 120 megabyte file. That is a lot of data. I personally have been shooting in the compressed RAW mode. I wish that they'd give us a small RAW option, but they never did. The compressed RAW gives us a roughly 60 megabyte file, and in real terms I can't see any loss in image quality at all. But even so, 60 megabytes is still a lot of data. Another part of that huge megapixel count is that you have to be very careful with movement in your image. Stabilization is very good, on par with most of the other full frame Sony bodies, but you do have to be on it. You want to be using a faster shutter speed really to make sure that you're getting crisp images. And then the other caveat of high megapixel count is low light performance, particularly in terms of high ISO performance. Obviously I bought this camera, I wasn't expecting amazing things from the high ISO performance. And to be fair, I can happily shoot up towards 5,000, 6,000 or so. If you zoom in to those images, you will obviously see noise, it's there, there's no getting around it. But bear in mind you're zooming in 100% to a 61 megapixel file. When you're zoomed out, looking at the full frame, you really don't notice it. So yeah, it's a con, but you can get by with it. Now then, why am I selling this camera? I've loved using it, it's a terrific camera, and for anyone who really wants a high megapixel count, especially in terms of landscape photographers, I would have no hesitation in telling you to go and buy this camera. Affiliate link down below. But I am selling this camera because the whole time, even before I bought this camera, I've just been waiting for the A7 IV, and it is finally here. Not here in the studio, it's not coming out until next month, and with pre-orders I can't really see myself getting hold of it anytime soon. But selling this, I'm freeing up the cash, meaning I can put a pre-order in and I get it when I get it. So why would the A7 IV be a much better camera for me? First off, much lower megapixels. They have bumped it up from the A7 III up to 33 megapixel, which I think is a very good ballpark to be in, really. In terms of low light performance, really, it's not going to be any worse than the A7 III, because as well as the higher megapixel count, we've also got much better processing in the camera. And then the other main reason that I'm really adamant on getting the A7 IV is because my main camera, this one, is the Sony FX3, and for video the A7 IV would be a damn near perfect match as a B camera. We have all the same picture profiles, the same focusing mechanisms, as well as the new features such as the focus breathing correction in camera, and the focus assist looks interesting. I can't see myself using it, especially when we've got stuff like peaking on a nice bright monitor. But the A7 IV, I could literally leave that on sticks at the back of a church ceremony, hit record, forget about it, knowing that it's just going to do the job while I'm wandering with the FX3, getting all my B-roll and stuff. That would be a perfect situation to be in. So yeah, there we go. That is my 1 year, well, 15 month review of the Sony a7 IV and my reasons that I don't want it anymore. I hope you enjoyed the video, hope you got something from it, maybe learnt something from it. Maybe it helped you decide whether you're actually going to buy an A7R IV or if you're going to look elsewhere. If you like this video, please do consider hitting subscribe down in the bottom corner there. Do give it a like if you liked it, and leave a comment if you got any questions at all. And otherwise, be good, stay safe, get shooting, and I'll see you in the next video.